Okay, I am here at the city of Corinth and am going to show you some of the sites around here. This is a very, very important site for Christians. It's an important site in the New Testament. Let me kind of give you a little orientation, let me put it that way. Here is the Temple of Apollo, just one of the three major temples here in Corinth. You can see the Ionian Sea out there, which made this a very, very important place. Also, you can see on top, that is the Acra Corinth. That's where the Temple of Aphrodite was located. And then right over here, it is the Agora area. You know, Paul came here, lived here for 2 to 3 years, lived with Priscilla and Aquila, tent maker, and built, this is how he made his living. It's also, he founded the church here and wrote letters back to this church. 2 letters that we have, possibly even more. This is the Agora of the city of Corinth, and we will be over there in a minute at the Bema area where Paul in Acts 18 gives a defense of the gospel. Okay, I am here in the Agora area of Corinth. Temple of Apollo is right there. This is the area where the marketplace area where business would be transacted, where the seat of government was located. This is kind of the city center, let me put it that way. But again, the one dominating feature is the Acra Corinth. Let me explain a little bit about what happened up there. There was a temple to Aphrodite. Later, the Romans changed it to Venus, the goddess of love. And there was a temple up there where there were 1,000 temple prostitutes. So people would come here and they would engage in sex with the women and men at the top of that mountain and then come back down to this city. Paul founded a church here, and as you can imagine, there were quite a few disagreements. They were kind of messed up. They had all of this paganism surrounding them, and they didn't quite know how to process it. And so Paul wrote a lot of letters to this church in order to help them process their new faith in relation to what they found around them and in their city. They had a lot of temptation and a lot of things to deal with that maybe most people didn't, and so Paul devoted a lot of his time to teaching and to helping them understand and to help them resolve their issues, primarily caused by the Temple of Aphrodite, Temple of Venus at the top of that mountain. But yet this was also a very important place politically, and that's where Paul got into a little trouble here. Let's go see the Bema where Paul gave his speech in Acts 18. Okay, I'm standing here in front of the Bema, the judgment seat, literally, but it's basically the courthouse. And there is a group here singing in front of this place where Paul gave his defense of the gospel to Gallio, the proconsul in this place. Okay, I'm here at Corinth at the main spring where people from all over would come and get their water. This, you can still hear the water moving, but this is the ancient spring of Corinth. There were 2 of them, but this is where everyone who lived here would come and get their water, the Apostle Paul included. This is also the area where most of the shops were located. You can see the main road. You can see the area where the shops would have been located. Very interesting, down at the far end, right down there by that white column, is where they found the inscription that was kind of a signpost saying this way to the synagogue. Where the synagogue was here in Corinth, nobody knows, but they did find the sign kind of pointing the way. But it's highly likely that Paul lived in this area, worked in this area, sold tents in this area, and of course got his water to live in this area of Corinth. So let's, I'll just walk over here. We'll walk on the main street of Corinth. You just always come here and I always wonder, is this perhaps where Paul walked every day to and from work? No idea. But here is the Roman road. This road stops here only because they haven't excavated. It goes all the way down to the port. So this is the road where people would come into the city from. But you look, main road, you have the sidewalk here with shops. Perhaps Paul worked in one of these shops. So this is Corinth, where Paul lived 18 months, wrote letters, 1st and 2nd Corinthians, where he lived making tents with his Priscilla and Aquila, and where he started a church that became a light to the west, the gateway to the west, to Rome. So this is a very, very important place in our spiritual heritage, the city of Corinth.